Hello everybody, today I thought I would do something fun and instead of doing like a vlog, I'm going to do a reaction to one of those here's 10 things you shouldn't do in the Netherlands videos because of course I am from the Netherlands, so I thought that might be fun. And I found a video from a channel called Destination Tips. Not the biggest, most viewed video, but definitely has a few points in there that I think I would like to react to, so let's go ahead and take a look. And I mean to make sure to record that. So let's take a look what they have in mind, and let's see if you have any interactions to what they're saying, which I've already watched the video, so I know I have a few things that I want to point out. So let's go take a look.
The Netherlands. There are so many things to discover in this wonderful country. But before you visit them, remember these 10 things not to do.
Or at least 10 things to try to do less, perhaps.
Know before you go. Number 1. Don't call the Dutch Germans.
Or Danish, but that's just the thing. I guess he's going to explain that in a moment, but real quick, do know at least where you're flying, because I think this is mostly something that people will do who don't really know where the Netherlands is, and they're not quite sure what country they're going to. I think in particular a lot of people who aren't from Europe are kind of like, oh, Europe is one big thing, but it's all little countries with their own pride and their own language and their own dialects and whatnot, so make sure to know exactly where you're going, what language you're speaking, what type of people you're going to be seeing there.
A lot of people confuse the word Dutch with Deutsch. And no, it's not the same thing. Dutch is the name of Netherlands citizens.
Who don't look like this the entire time, by the way. This is just for soccer season.
And the language they speak, whereas Deutsch means German in the German language. So you see, there's a huge difference.
That's an angry baby. Don't bother grandma, I think is the next part.
Number 2. Don't call it Holland.
So they're going to talk about that there's two provinces that together are called Holland because it's North and South Holland, and they're like the only two provinces that can be referred to as Holland. I'm going to skip over this part because actually I've never actually heard anybody, any Dutch person in real life saying, oh, actually it's the Netherlands because Holland is just these two places. Actually, I've never heard anybody being bothered by that. Only on the internet. Whenever I see a video and there's people talking about the Netherlands and they say Holland, there'll be some people going, oh, Holland is just the two provinces. I don't care. I really don't care. As a matter of fact, people that have traveled to other places from the Netherlands have referred to the Netherlands as Holland as well, so nobody really cares. So I'm going to skip this part and just go ahead to the next part. Yep, we got the two provinces. Excellent, fantastic. Lovely map, of course. There's this guy who's upset about something. I don't know why. Next, let's go.
Number 3. Don't abuse drugs. The Netherlands capital, Amsterdam, is famous for the legalization of some narcotics. However,
oh, I wanted to go back to that. Hang on. I need this little ducks right here. I need a store that sells rubber duckies, but okay, we don't have that apparently. So he's going to talk about, well, let's let him talk for a second.
Some narcotics. However, if during your stay you feel inclined to partake in these usually illegal substances, remember to tread lightly. You don't want to be one of those lame, wasted tourists making a fool of themselves on the streets of Amsterdam.
No, you don't. Actually, matter of fact, you can definitely tell who is a tourist by how they behave when they've got some marijuana and stuff like that. There are definitely coffee shops all over the place in the Netherlands, and there are a lot of people who go there. Usually they are a little bit more responsible with the way that they smoke their drugs. There are, of course, those people who just don't care about anything and they go walk around the street and you can smell when they're there because it's a very poignant, I think is the word, smell. And you know what that is as a Dutch person, like, oh, somebody was over here smoking some weed. Yeah, but most people will only smoke it at their own house or at their friend's house or at the coffee shop themselves because you're not supposed to smoke it outside, I believe, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure that a lot of cops will allow it because it is like a tolerance policy here. You're not allowed to grow your own drugs unless it's like maybe up to 3 plants, I think. Like you can grow up to 3 plants on your own balcony or something, but you're not allowed to grow that much that you're actually going to go ahead and sell stuff because the production, literal production and sale of marijuana is restricted here. And of course, it's extremely annoying when somebody comes over from another country and thinks that everybody in the Netherlands is so cool with them just going around smoking weed and taking whatever it is, that, like mushrooms or whatever you can find in a smart shop. all over the place because, contrary to popular belief, most Dutch people don't actually smoke weed. A lot of people don't. It's usually something that people who are, I don't know, in their late teens up to say 30 do if they're into that type of thing. And after that, it's like, oh yeah, well, I've done that and that's it. That's just all there is to it because it's not interesting because it's not like illegal. And why would you go out of your way to smoke a whole bunch of weed anyway? And a lot of people, like I said, have never even tried it because, yeah, maybe once, like in their, I would say, college years. We don't really have college here in the same way that they would have in the Netherlands, like in that age period. They may have tried it once just to say that they've tried it, but it's not something that a lot of people do. That's like a misconception of the Netherlands as well. So it's one of those things, I'm talking really fast. It's one of those things like when you travel abroad and they find out that you're from the Netherlands that they go, oh, you weed, you got some weed on you. No, that's not a funny joke. Don't do that. Okay, let's skip ahead to the next one because I've already talked about everything in that regard. Oh, it actually was about to go to the next one. That's nice. Good timing.
Number 4. Don't wander into the bike lane. Back home, the bike lanes may be less dangerous, but the Netherlands are so flat it makes them ideal for cycling.
Of course, depending on where you are in the Netherlands, people will be more or less forgiving, but in a place like Amsterdam or Rotterdam, where if you want to go downtown somewhere, there aren't really many good places you can drive your car because the Dutch don't tend to drive their car that much, particularly downtown in large towns because they've been changed to make it less car friendly and more pedestrian and bike friendly. People are trying to get places. Often, like the image you see on the screen right now, there are a lot of times where there are like tons of people on the bikes right now. Probably not so much, but just like rush hour, there's a lot of bikes out there, and you don't want to go wandering onto those little salmon-colored strips if you're not on a bike yourself. If you have to cross it, make sure to check both ways because there might be somebody coming from the opposite direction to what you're expecting. And they will get upset with you. Not all of them will get super angry, but they will definitely ring their bells at you to make sure you get out of the way on time. Otherwise, you're going to have to take a ride with them on their front-loading, what is that called, a luggage carrier? I don't really know, like the little basket like the guy has over there. You're going to have to sit in there for a while because he's probably going to go to some meeting or whatever. And that's because all walks of life ride bikes in the Netherlands, from kids to businessmen, doesn't matter. Everybody has a bike. Everybody has probably 2 bikes. Or at least if you're single, you probably only have 1 bike, or maybe have 1 bike that you kind of rode into oblivion, but you kind of kept it just in case, like a backup bike, and you have like the new one. Yeah. Also, if you go to a train station in the Netherlands, people tend to cycle to the train station, leave their bike at the train station, then take the train. If you want to see a lot of bikes, go to a large train station. You'll see tons of them, and a lot of them won't get claimed ever again. And that's a special issue, which I think is only in the Netherlands. But yes, don't walk around in our bike lanes. Well, let's go take a look because I've pretty much covered everything. Next. Also, I don't want to like use the entire video of the guy because it's like really cheap to use other people's videos. So that's why I'm trying to cut in every once in a while, a few seconds. Next is apparently public transport. Let's take a look.
Number 5. Don't forget to tap off. If you travel by train in the Netherlands, you need to tap your card on the reader before you board.
Also, they're showing a yellow OV card, and that's an OV card that is on your name, connected to your bank account. So if you're only going to be here for a little while, but you're going to be traveling by train or public transport regularly, I would suggest getting the blue ones, which are not on your name. They're anonymous, and you just have to charge a certain amount on the card. And you can actually get the amount back if you have like a Dutch account or something, because a lot of people don't like using the anonymous ones because they think, oh well, I always have to charge it, and then once it expires or something, I just lose all this money. But that's not the case. So, but the main thing with the named card, I always find, is it's very convenient as long as you don't lose it. Because if you have a named card, you can just go check in and check out of all these different train stations. You don't have to like charge it in between time. It's automatically deducted from your bank account, which is also very convenient for the person who finds your card if you were to lose it, because they can go check in and out. As long as you haven't disabled the card, they can travel for free, and it gets basically taken out of your pocket. So if you're only going to be here for a while, get the blue one. Probably most of these devices that you can get cards at will only give you a blue one anyway, so it's okay, but just make sure not to get a yellow one if you're not going to be here for a long time, and if you're not okay with people using your card where you're not looking.
sure. But don't forget to tap off when you pass back through the gates, even if they're already open.
If they're not open, then you're not going to get out if you didn't check in at the start. And if you, for whatever reason, are at a train station and your card, I don't know, isn't charged enough anymore, or you lost it or something, and you legitimately wanted to check out, there are usually these little SOS gates. You can kind of see one over here. I don't know if my mouse is going to show up on the screen, but there's like this little SOS posts. Usually in small stations they'll have those as well. There will be a call button on there, and you can explain to the person on the other end, like, hey, I lost my card, I'd like to get out of the train station and these gates are closed, and they'll open up one of the gates for you. You can just leave, so don't worry about getting stuck. Do make sure to always have a card that has enough charge on it, because they will fine you if they get you and you don't have enough on the card. Even though they don't know where you're going, there's like a certain amount, like the train goes from one station to the next, they just calculate how much it would cost for you to get to the other end of the station line, I think. And if you don't have enough charge on that, they'll say, okay, you're gonna have to either get off at the next stop and charge it there, or if it's like not checked in, they might even get you a fine. So make sure to always have enough charge on your card, have enough charge on your card, and check it in and check it out at the end, because in this case they show like a whole bunch of gates that are open, but if you don't check out, next time you want to check in, it won't let you because you're still checked in, and they might actually charge you till the end of the line, like the amount for if you would have traveled all the way till the end of the line, or the furthest possible, and that can lead to quite a big amount of money that you suddenly have to pay up. He's going to continue to talk about that. What else do we got here? Oh, next.
Number 6. Don't take pictures in the red light district.
Yeah, and don't be an ass, because prostitution is legal in the Netherlands, and there are people who are actual sex workers. They are professionals, and you don't want to go hang around and be a weirdo or something along those lines. They have actual, what you call those, unions, I think? Something along those lines. Like, we have certain unions for different types of people in different types of jobs and stuff like that. So they actually have people who guard their rights and stuff like that, and it's very disrespectful to film somebody when they're at work. They're basically just at work. If you were like sitting behind your desk, it would be kind of annoying and disrespectful if somebody just came in from outside the street, start filming you because you're preparing their coffee or whatever it is that you do. Just don't do that. It's also very disrespectful. It is very disrespectful, and it's also just kind of stupid, because you'll be that one lame tourist that has to film the naked ladies behind the window. Don't be that guy. Of course, if you are that guy, you're probably not going to take that advice anyway, but I'm just telling you, like, it's not a good idea, and it might get you in a little bit of trouble, because I'm pretty sure there's also people outside of the streets that safeguard certain people's privacy and stuff like that, and they will come for you if you do things that are really stupid. So let's just go ahead and skip ahead, because we don't need to spend too much time looking at the red light districts.
Number 7. Don't use tourist buses.
Yes. Like I said earlier with the bike thing, a lot of large cities where they would have tourist buses do not allow a lot of motorized traffic downtown, and downtown is usually where the most fun things are in the Netherlands. So if you want to see downtown, don't go on the tourist bus, because you're only going to be able to circle the outside of the town. And in Amsterdam, they also have these boats that you can go on. That's a lot more interesting, because the canals go all the way through the Netherlands, or the Netherlands, all the way through Amsterdam. I made a mistake myself calling Amsterdam the Netherlands. Anyway, so yes, they go all the way through the town. You can see a lot of downtown, but of course once you get off the boat in Amsterdam, make sure to also walk around, because there's a lot more to see on foot than there is on the boat. But if you do find yourself in Amsterdam, you want to choose between the bus and the boat, get the boat, because the bus is not going to get anywhere. Same thing for other large towns like Rotterdam and The Hague and stuff like that. Just don't do it. Most of the interesting stuff is available on foot, mostly.
If you're in Amsterdam and want a sightseeing tour, rather than taking a bus, you'll be sure to better enjoy a cruise down the many canals.
I've already covered this point. Kind of sad, but okay. Never mind. Next. No. Guy's under pressure.
Number 8. Don't speak Dutch. In the Netherlands, they speak Dutch and English. And according to many of the locals, Dutch is harder to master than Chinese.
Wouldn't say that. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that it's difficult to master. Like, you need to spend some time on it, and there's definitely some. One of the things that a lot of people who try to speak Dutch, they tend to confuse certain words like die and het and stuff like that, or de, die, het, een. And the thing with speaking Dutch in the Netherlands, if you're not already like really well versed in Dutch, is that most people will speak English fairly well, and they'll be looking to have an efficient conversation, I think is the best way to put it. I don't think they're going to have a problem with you learning Dutch. Probably a lot of people think it's fun when you try to speak Dutch to them, but if they're trying to explain something to you, like, oh, you need to go over here, you need to go over there, it's a lot faster if you were to just stick to English and we can communicate that way so you can get to where you need to go on time, because time is very important. And if you have time to practice your Dutch, you can do that later. But for efficiency's sake, we'll just speak English to you, get all the important stuff out of the way, and then later maybe we can speak some Dutch or practice some of your Dutch or whatever. It's not that we don't like that you're trying to learn Dutch, it's just more time efficient to speak English.
And they prefer it if you don't try. So unless you're planning on moving there, don't try to dabble in Dutch.
So they're trying to make it seem like we don't like it when people speak Dutch, but it's not really like that. But I already explained that. So next point. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Number 9. Don't show up unannounced. If you want to visit someone's home or workplace, you should always phone ahead first. They like to
let them know anyway. It's not that we don't like getting visitors, but it's more like we have certain schedules and we usually have a lot of stuff going on and we like to make sure that everything fits. So if we've got like somebody showing up at our door at, I don't know, 6 or something, and we've got like a, I don't know, we want to go to the gym later or whatever, it's really inconvenient. And even if you don't want to go anywhere that evening, sometimes people just have an evening planned where they're just going to sit on the couch and vegetate for a while, and then suddenly somebody's showing up at the door and they gotta get back in their, I don't know, representable clothing. They gotta make sure that the house is cleaned up like properly. They're probably going to apologize profusely for not having swept the floor that morning or whatever. It's just something that people don't do. We don't anticipate that people are going to be visiting at any moment. We just don't like that. Showing up unannounced is kind of rude. Also, there's this thing that they're not going to mention, but I think we probably should mention here. Not many people keep in mind that maybe there'll be extra dinner guests if they show up unannounced and it's just before dinner time. You will not automatically be invited to eat dinner with them. They might, some people probably would, like, okay, I just want to make sure that they feel welcome and invited, and I'll give them an extra seat at the table, but they probably wouldn't have cooked for more than the usual amount that their family normally eats. So they would have to split that up or try to make something extra. So they'll probably try to do something to make you feel comfortable and give you something to eat, but it's just inconvenient. And in general, the Dutch people don't like to inconvenience others either, so they wouldn't show up at your house unannounced either. And it's kind of like a tit for tat, like if I don't show up unannounced at your house, you're not going to show up unannounced at my house. And that's just this unspoken rule that we have. Just be polite and phone in ahead so they can prepare for your arrival and make sure that the entire schedule works with the visit.
To organize their day, and an unexpected visit may ruin their plans. Number 10. Don't forget to say goodbye. If you are with a group of people and you want to leave, don't forget to say goodbye.
Yeah, I don't know why he put this in here, because I've never actually heard this as a Dutch stereotype or something like that. Like, oh, don't forget to say goodbye because people will think it's rude. I think that's more of an international thing. At least I would expect that to be the case. Like, they're showing people who are out, like, with some drinks. And not that that's currently a big thing happening right now, but just in case you do have, like, a meeting of some sort outside of office hours, and you're about to go, I think most people will say, hey guys, I'm about to leave, see you later, just so everybody knows, hey, Johnny is already left. It's also just kind of like another politeness thing, like just don't sneak out and let people wonder what happened to you. Make sure that you let people know that you've gone, and they're going to say something about shaking everybody's hand. Well, of course, these days we don't shake hands too much anymore unless the coronavirus actually leaves. But also, if you're in a place like it's a restaurant or something, you can't get to everybody because there's just too much crowds around you. You can also just wave at them or something. As long as you make eye contact, say, see you later, I'm leaving, blah, 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 so everybody knows that you've gone. And that's all you really need to do. It's not that big of an inconvenience. I don't think people will get angry, but it's more like a, hey, what happened to him type of thing.
It's an important piece of social etiquette to warn in advance that you are going to leave and then shake hands as you bid farewell to everyone in the group. If you don't, they may think you're angry with them, so be polite. Goodbye. Where do you want to know what not to do in next?
One very important thing that he didn't mention that another video did mention is to always make sure you're prepared for the weather. If you're going to travel here, make sure to have a coat that has like a hood. You can just put that on at the last second if it starts to rain, or very conveniently one of these guys. It's like a umbrella that you can fold up. Put one of these in your bag because you never know. It can be in the middle of summer and you could still have some rain for about half an hour. And if you're not prepared for that, you're going to get soaked and your day's going to be ruined and stuff like that. The Dutch always have something on them to prepare themselves for this event, so make sure to be prepared for the weather because it can change very quickly. So that's it for our misconceptions about the Dutch and what you should and shouldn't do in this country. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other things that people wonder about. Make sure to leave those in the comment section below so I can answer them maybe. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed that. Make sure to leave a like or a comment. I will see you next week. Bye bye for now.